cast your mind back to 2012.
I don't care that you broke your elbow.
He does not care that I broke my elbow.
Why? What was happening in 2012? I don't fucking know, I was like 5. I don't remember shit. Slender the 8 Pages was released by Parsec Productions in 2012, further fueling the indie horror craze that had been sparked years before with games like Amnesia: The Dark Descent in 2010.
I'm just in this guy's crotch, so I don't know.
However, people really liked Slender.
I like you a lot.
So much so to the point that multiple other game developers created their own renditions of the game in order to cash in on the trend, despite the fact that most of them were free.
You don't...
Good lord, what is happening in there?
Enter the Slender parodies, short horror experiences which aim to combine the game design and atmosphere of Slender the 8 Pages with mostly already existing IPs. You had SpongeBob Slendy Pants, which was a Slender parody of SpongeBob SquarePants, Swamp Sim, which was a Slender parody of Shrek, and last but certainly not least, Slendytubbies, which was a Slender parody of Teletubbies. That was obviously before they introduced this. Oh, and this. And this. What even is this series anymore? Most of these games are looked back on fondly today as nostalgic and quaint remnants of their time, some of them even getting remakes and remasters in more recent times. But one Slender parody didn't get as much reception as the others, and has since been left by the wayside. That game is with its most recent version published onto GameJolt on the 1st of September 2014, Slender Mickey was created by one JampTaco, also known as Games, but known today mostly as just TanforDev. This project being their first venture into the wacky world of game development. The game's short description simply reads as follows.
Slender Mickey is a horror game based on Mickey Mouse and Slender Man. Okay, honestly, like, who honestly cares, really? Like, do you honestly care about what happens in this game? Really? Really? Like, do you honestly care? Why else are you on this game? This is a game about Mickey Mouse and Slender Man. I'd rather watch Winnie the Pooh and fucking Deadpool combined into one.
You're naughty little piggy.
Oh, but you want a story? Oh, okay, Mickey Mouse met up with Slender Man, and then Slender Man said, "They don't call me Slender Man for nothing." And then the two birthed Slender Mickey. Slender Mickey has a drug abuse problem, and with his drug abuse problem, he lost all of his fucking claims. So now, he's gonna get arrested by the police, and it's up to James Jameson II to find those pieces of fucking paper. But Slender Mickey also doesn't want to do that, because he just doesn't want to, you know, be found as not guilty, I guess. So he's gonna come fiddle with your diddle. And that's pretty much it. Oh yeah, and there's also an epic rave at the end if you get all the 10 pages.
Oh man, does this take me back. The classic dark forest that so many of these Slender parodies had, the cheesy ass blood font, even the slowed down Steamboat Willie whistle as the game's main theme here all just screams early 2010s horror. It's not hard at all to imagine Markiplier's face in the corner of this, or even Yami Mash's if anyone remembers him. God, hope he's doing well in life. Even the fucking start button is like this, with it instead saying, "Let's start the nightmare." You know, the classic selection options on game title screens. New game, load, let's start the nightmare. Iconic, truly. It's all so goddamn charming, and I just absolutely love it. Mickey in the background T-posing being the cherry on top of it all, of course. Let's just have a look at the controls here before we dive headfirst into all of this. Let's see now. Move, jump, camera. Oh! There's a pause option here. I don't think a lot of other Slender parodies had that feature. Already going above and beyond, I see. Jumping into the game, we find ourselves by a nice little campfire.
Hey, if we're underwater, how could there be...
The first of about 11 landmarks we encounter throughout the game. Most if not all these landmarks also have a page attached to them which we're able to collect. The objective being to collect all of them in order to quote-unquote escape. Not sure how collecting 10 pages has anything to do with escaping, mind you. Maybe it's more metaphorical, like we're escaping Mickey's reign of terror or something. This game doesn't really seem to have a story, so it could be anything really. Going back to the campfire, although there aren't any pages around here for us to collect, Its inherent glow is actually quite helpful in making your way around the map, serving as a sort of reference point. From here you can basically go anywhere, visiting whichever landmark you would like to, and in whatever order. But for the sake of this video, we're gonna head south to the shipwreck. Cutting through the forest, the beach, and its shallow waters, you'll find yourself a wrecked steamboat shrouded in what appears to be mist or steam. This obviously being a nod to the 1928 Mickey Mouse short film, Steamboat Willie.
What do you want, you filthy fucking punk?
Get out of here. I forgot who you were.
Goodbye!
There's a small wooden plank we can traverse to board the steamboat, which demonstrates one of my first gripes with the game. Be it due to collision issues, the momentum at which you move, or whatever, climbing stairs, ramps, and sometimes even hills can be an absolute nightmare, which, while may prove to be quite effective for creating tension during a chase, just proves to be quite tedious and frustrating more often than not. Once we've made it onto the steamboat, finally, we find ourselves our first page, and oh, put all these pages framed in a museum because they are just brilliant. While most of them just use scary edits or illustrations of Mickey Mouse, some of them actually use pictures of old Halloween and theme park costumes from the early days of Disney, which, for someone like me who was obsessed with Disney history for the longest time, is really great to see and adds a lot more charm to the game in my opinion. A lot of the pictures used here are also just iconic. Like this one illustration of Mickey Mouse, I swear to God, has been posted around the internet for years now. But anyway, once we've collected this page, we can move on to another landmark, which in our case is this old abandoned building. There's actually a good amount of these dilapidated houses throughout the game, each weirdly enough standing out on their own and being quite unique from one another. For instance, this building in particular has quite a lot of open space, possibly meant for juking Mickey around during a big encounter. A page can also be found here, depicting one of the earliest mascot costumes the Disney parks had to offer for Mickey Mouse. How lovely.
Come on, Jimmy, just take a picture with the monstrosity. Come on, Jimmy, please, Jimmy, please.
Oh yeah, it's the observatory. Moving on from the abandoned building, you may find yourself in the observatory, one of the best landmarks in the game in my opinion. Traversing around this place is just so eerie, the small rooms and areas you have to climb through contrasting greatly with the more open spaces of the dark forest and the other landmarks, seeming almost claustrophobic in comparison. This landmark is also where we encounter our greatest obstacle once again, the stairs. Once we eventually make it to the top, however, we're greeted with yet another page, this one depicting a really scary drawing of Michael Mouse that can be used for the thumbnail of any one of your Disney creepypasta readings. Next up is the clubhouse, Slendy Michael's evil lair of evil deeds. This is where he plotted the plan to tip over the wheelie bins to piss off the lorry men. See? Come to mention it, Slender Mickey actually has quite an eye for interior decorating. Just kidding, I lied, I'm a liar. Yeah, if I had to point out a problem with a lot of these landmarks, is that most of them don't have a lot of interior design. Most of them just having these giant open spaces inside, which is a shame because the ones that do have more complex interiors are some of my favorites, as they add a lot more depth and tension to the gameplay, as we saw with the observatory. That is, unless you count this one page as interior design, which I don't. Nearby the clubhouse is a crashed school bus. Miss Frizzle.
You maniac! You blew it up!
Yeah, I'm not really sure what a school bus has to do with literally anything else in this game, but it's here anyway. It makes sense if there was maybe an abandoned school or something as a landmark nearby, but there just isn't. Slender Mickey Island, I imagine, must be one of the worst places for a field trip.
Please let this be a normal field trip with a friend? No way!
Cruising on down Main Street.
It kind of reminds me of that one abandoned school bus some 3am YouTubers used to film in. Yeah, I'm a cultured man. Going back to the bus itself, it's actually a nice little landmark all things considered. Like the campfire, it's also on fire, meaning it's quite easy to spot from far away, and coupled with the fact that it's very, very close to the clubhouse, means it's really hard to miss. I like this landmark, I'd go drinking with them. You can also find a page here which shows a depiction of Mickey Mouse from the 1934 film Baby Babes in Toyland, where he was apparently played by a monkey. God, I feel so bad for that monkey. Could he even breathe in all that latex? Jesus.
I'm dying, Dad. You killed me.
Excuse me, what the actual fuck are you doing in my house?
Next up is our second abandoned building, and this one's definitely my favorite because it has 2 floors. The stairs here also seem to work a lot better than the other landmarks, maybe due to the fact that they're a lot larger compared to the small, rickety staircases of the observatory. Exploring the building, there's not too much to see downstairs, but on the second floor, you can find a page in a small bedroom with a very nice view. Not before you get jump scared, of course. I forgot to mention these up until now, but there are actually some places around the map that trigger these scary images of Mickey Mouse to pop up and scare you. However, like most jump scares that are done over and over and over again, these get tired very quickly. Not to mention the fact they're not random, so they play in the exact same spaces every single time. You know, I think I'm getting quite tired of all this scary Mickey jump scare stuff. I think I'm just gonna try pause the game and take a break. Slender Mickey betrayed us! Shh, please, silence at the place of worship. For now, we arrive at the church of Michael Moose himself. Going inside, we can see, like many good places of worship, the interior is very delicately crafted. There's also an upstairs area we can venture to, which holds a large church organ. This must have been where that anthem was recorded. We can also find a page at the very back of the church held in a very majestic frame. It's actually quite high up, so you have to jump up to collect it. The page itself depicting Mickey Mouse doing some weird shit. I don't fucking... Once we've grabbed the page, we can move on to our next landmark. From the glorious majesty of the church, we now find ourselves in some fucking dingy ass building. There's actually a vehicle outside of this one, which seems to be in good condition. You know what, fuck the pages, we can just run Mickey over. Inside this rickety building, we find ourselves traversing these long, tight corridors, giving a similar effect to walking around the observatory. Eventually, we find ourselves a page, depicting, from what I could find information about, some presumably bootleg statue of Mickey Mouse, dubbed Soviet Mickey Mouse by the stock photo website Friedman Archives. I'm not sure if this was where the image originally came from, but I could find no earlier origins. This next page is a fucking ball ache, let me tell you. The page is located on a tree, one of the many, many trees on this map. Pages being on trees in themselves aren't really a problem. Slender the 8 Pages also had a page on a tree. However, that tree stood out from the others by being considerably large. In this game, every tree uses the exact same model. Not to mention your vision in this game is incredibly limited, with your flashlight, torch, having an absurdly short range, often meaning that you have to go around inspecting every tree you come across up close, making the search for this one page so tedious and slow. The page itself, once you find it, also appears to be clipping through the tree model it's attached to, making it even more hard to see. I don't even know what's on this one, and frankly, I don't care at this point. And finally, we reach the radio tower, another one of my favourite areas in the game. It's located high up on this barren, rocky hill surrounded by these dead trees, it being surprisingly memorable and unique compared to the same old grass and trees you see throughout the game. I also just love the idea that there was just a radio station here at one point. Slender Mickey FM, mate. Inside the landmark, however, there isn't a lot going on, it more or less just being a great big concrete cube. However, there is a page here, it portraying an edited photo of an early Mickey Mouse costume. And huzzah! Those are all the landmarks and pages you can find. Collect them all and you beat the game. But wait, aren't we forgetting something? Oh yeah, that guy, I guess. What was his name again? Fucking Brandon Michael. Slender Mickey is a very strange little creature. From looking at his model, to which was ripped from the game and uploaded to Sketchfab by the user Jaluz, or Jallows, I don't fucking, we can find some interesting tidbits. For one, he's extremely low poly, his ears being more akin to octagons than anything circular. This bad boy would most definitely fit into a PS2 game. It also doesn't seem to have any unique textures for his tail, it instead reusing textures from the rest of the model for some reason. Not only that, but there's a drawn outline between his legs, yet another baffling decision, and most interestingly, his model actually has a built-in mouth, but his famous toothy grin is just drawn over it, the end result just looking immensely fucked up. I will say though that I do actually like some of the design elements here though, such as the white eyes with a singular pupil, as well as the red cheeks. They're incredibly unique and memorable all things considered, and despite whatever I do say about this design, I still have to commend it, as it was originally what made me interested in this game to begin with, seeing it in the Game Jolt page thumbnail. Now how does Slender Michael actually work in the game? Now that is its own story. Once upon a time, there's a Slender Michael. At the beginning of every game, Slender Mickey will start at the clubhouse and make his way towards you. A very nice touch, admittedly. His AI is a bit bizarre. He always knows where you are, but will have changes of mind whilst going after you, wandering off and doing his own thing for a bit before making his way towards you again. I suppose to create distance between you and him to relieve any chasers. This is if he doesn't get too close, however, where he'll make his way behind you and wait for you to turn around. If you do so and look at Mickey long enough, you'll be greeted with the game over screen. Behind you? Mickey also likes to make sounds as he's chasing you. Occasionally he'll whistle the Steamboat Willie tune when he's nearby, and when he's very close to you, he'll spam the Maze Game scream whenever you look at him. I've heard of game monsters screaming at the player, sure, but never have I ever ran into a game monster that just spams that scream until you shit yourself, become deaf, or die. Breaking new ground once again, Slender Mickey. You magnificent bastard. However, as you can imagine, he is not without his issues. He actually has collision, which means if he's right on your tail, it's a button down because it's a mouse and he has a big tail, can cause you to become stuck with Mickey behind you, or even cause Mickey to throw you into the air, completely misplacing you. The game received a decent amount of attention when it was released. Multiple videos were made of people playing it, and the Game Jolt page itself was in total viewed over 40,000 times. But despite all of this, no one ever really seemed to stay with or interact with the game all that much. The Game Jolt page only being followed by around 220 people, and receiving only 76 likes in its almost 10 years on the site, which I feel is a shame. If games like Swamp Sim and Slendytubbies can still remain in the public eye, then goddammit, this game deserves to as well. It may not be the greatest game ever made, nor even the greatest Slender parody out there, but this game, in its simplicity and attempts at horror, is just so charming in such a unique way that I feel can't really be found in any other Slender parody. I'm honestly surprised this game was forgotten so quickly. And I think I'm not alone in that, because despite everything, Slender Mickey came back. I mean, sort of. Let me explain. The 2020s have weirdly been Slender Mickey's comeback era. That is the best sentence I've ever said in my life. TanforDev hasn't done anything new with the game, no, but there's been a strange amount of fan content that's been made for the game quite recently. In 2020, a YouTube channel by the name of Elastic Plasticity Fantasy created a fan-made trailer for the game, as well as a reaction compilation of Let's Players freaking out over the game. Not only that, but the Game Jolt user known as SlenderMickey_value has archived multiple versions of Slender Mickey, as well as created a whole remake of the game, which was only published in 2024. Now, does this mean my man Slender Michael is back? Well, I'm not too sure really. I doubt TanforDev will ever really return to this game. In fact, he officially stopped development of it back around 2016, claiming Slender parodies like these were outdated. But even despite the fact the developer has clearly moved on from his humble beginnings, it's great to know people are still remembering this game and are creating fanworks inspired by it. Even despite its many flaws and shortcomings, I do encourage you to give Slender Mickey a try for yourself, and while you're there, be sure to support TanforDev and check out his other projects, as he actually went on to create a plethora of other games, most notably Five Nights at Ronald's, a Five Nights at Freddy's fan game based on McDonald's, and Danger Isolation, a game which TanforDev himself describes as a Slender-style horror game with a puzzle platform twist. Oh, and while you're here, make sure to subscribe and let me know what I should cover next. I'd love to look at that Five Nights at Ronald's game, that should look crazy. But anyway, that's enough from me. Thank you for watching. Slender Mike was gonna bite my ass.